Hey everybody, Steve here, and today we're taking a look at Hoops Tabletop Pro Basketball. This game was designed by Mark and Andy Vaselio, released in 2013. It's for 1 or 2 players, and the game's going to take you about 30 minutes to play out. Recreating a basketball game on the tabletop can fall into a couple of pitfalls. One is that a game may cut corners in how it arrives at the statistics for the game, or it might become so bogged down in the minutia of each possession that a game takes a long time to play out. And what this game is attempting to do is give you the best of both worlds in a statistically accurate game engine, but also something that plays very quickly. So, does it pull it off? Well, let's take a look at what comes with the game. I'll show you a sample of play, and then I'll tell you what I think after further review. Okay, so here is a quick overview of what your table is going to look like when you get the game set up. As you can see, it takes up a very small footprint on your table. You're just going to have the 5 starting players for each team. You can have the subs set off to the side. You're going to have the deck of cards, and we'll show you how those work in just a minute. And the only thing you'll need to provide is 2 6-sided dice, and then optionally you can also have a D10, and I like to use a pawn just to keep track of which player currently has the ball. Now, I should mention the game is available in a PDF format, or you can buy a printed version. And so I'm using player cards from the PDF version. So when you get them, you'll print it out and they'll come on a sheet. They'll look like this, and then you simply cut them out into the individual cards. But the pack deck is from the ASG Games website. We can buy it, and they come on perforated paper that you then have to separate out. Just to give you an example of what the print quality is for those cards. Now, the game comes with a very small 10-page rules booklet that gets you right into the action, and then it also has 2 helpful sheets. One shows you an overview of the player cards, and then one shows you everything about the pack cards. So let's take a closer look at the player cards and show you exactly what we're dealing with. Okay, so here's a close-up of LeBron's card. It has his name and the team and the year that we're looking at. His position. The X rating is how involved a player is with a team's offense, and the higher the number, the better. Has their DNP, which is did not play. It's an optional rule before you start the game. You can roll the 2 dice, and if it equals the numbers there, then the player's not available. Anything else, they can be in the starting lineup. Their rest rating, the forced shot rating, which we'll show you how that works in our sample of play. Then their assist, ball handling, their offensive rebounding, defensive rebounding, and then their 4 columns. And this is for their inside on offense, outside on offense, running a fast break, and then on defense. And this is where the bulk of your game of results are going to come from. And so very quickly looking at a player, you can see how valuable they'll be based on how many times you see like a basket or a blank spot, which would be a missed shot. And then you can see how strong they are defensively over here by how often they would give up a basket or how often they would force a pass or a missed shot of their own. And then finally down at the bottom is their free throw rating, their 3-point rating, and then their 3-point rating for when they're running a fast break. And then lastly, the defensive rating for how well their opponent shoots a 3-pointer if one is called for while they're guarding them. And so let's take a look at the pack cards and show you how they work, and then we'll show you a quick sample of play. Now, there are 140 in the full deck, and what you'll do, you'll divide that in half, and each 70 cards represents 1/4 of a game. So you'll play through the deck twice, and that'll represent a full game. And how they work: at the beginning of each possession, you'll flip over the top card, and it's going to tell you which player is in control of the ball. Now sometimes there will be a number, and then this is where that X number on each of the player cards comes into effect. And each player who has that number or higher is eligible to get possession of the ball. So if you have multiple players in that range, you can use any sort of random method you would like to decide which one gets it. But sometimes the card will just simply say which position receives the ball. So in this case, the power forward would be in control. And then once you find out who has the ball, you'll look over here, and that's going to tell you what offense they're running. So in this case, it says offense 2. If you remember on the cards, so like on LeBron's, you'll see his range here. A 1 through 6 is inside, so in offense 2, you would be checking his inside offense chart. And then you would just simply roll the 2 dice, combine them together to find out what happened. In this case, he got an assist, so you just randomly determine what other player the pass went to, score 2 points, and there's one possession of the game. The other items on the card, there is 2 different rebound results. You'll use the first one if a shot is missed, and sometimes it'll tell you if a player is over a certain number. In this case, if the offensive center had a offensive rebounding rating greater than 12, he would grab it. Otherwise, the defensive center would. And sometimes they'll have a card where the player will get a bonus, and then sometimes it'll tell you that the defense will immediately get a fast break off of the rebound. The second rebound is used if, for whatever reason, a player gets a second shot off. If an offensive player grabs the rebound and puts a shot right back up, then you'll use the second line. Sometimes there is a separate crash rebound rating. That's one of the optional rules. It's late in the game, you want your team to crash the boards, and then you'll just simply read what happens there. If a fast break does occur, you're going to go over here, and this tells you which player on the offense controls the fast break, and then you'll roll the 2 dice and read from their fast break rating. Lastly, there's a couple places where there's a random number. For whatever reasons, you might need a D10 result. After every basket, unless a result came specifically from an assist result on the player's card, you'll check to see if an assist was made, and this will tell you which player and then what their assist rating would need to be. So it says small forward 7, so we look at Shane Battier's, and he only has an assist rating of 5, so there would be no assist for the play. The second result below that is if the small forward scored the basket, he couldn't get his own assist, so then you would check the point guard to see if he got it. And then you'll see at the very bottom of the card there is a press rating, and this is one of the advanced rules where you can call for a full court press towards the end of the game if your team's behind and you're trying to get the ball back, and this is where the ball handling skill of the player will be checked. So in this case, you would check your point guard's ball handling. So if the Heat were running, it's asking if their ball handling is 8 or better. And in this case, Chalmers only has a 5, so he doesn't. So that would cause a turnover, and then the defense would get the ball. But you see sometimes the defense will get called for a foul, or sometimes they'll just automatically get a turnover. Okay, so let's run through a couple of possessions. We'll have San Antonio hosting Miami in a rematch of last year's finals. And you'll have the players laid out from the center, power forward, small forward, shooting guard, and point guard, and matched up with their opposing player. So as you can see, I've broken down the deck. So you cut it in half, and that gives you 1 quarter. Cut it in half again, that gives you 6 minutes. And then cut it in half one more time. So this will be representing 3 minutes of the first quarter. So we'll have the opening tip-off, and we'll just simply roll 1 die for each of the centers. And it's a tie, but we'll give the advantage to whoever has the highest offensive rebounding. They would get a +1. So in this case, Duncan has a better offensive rebounding, so he would win the tip. And San Antonio is going to control the ball here to start the game. So we'll flip over the first possession, and we'll see that the shooting guard is going to control it. So it'll be Danny Green, and it's an offense 6. So that will be on his outside rating. We'll roll the 2 dice, and we get a total of 10. And that's an assist. So he finds an open player. So we'll just randomly roll for the position. 6, so it'll be a coach's choice. So we'll say we'll give it to Duncan. So Green finds Duncan underneath, and he puts it in for an easy 2 points. And just like that, San Antonio's up 2-0. And then Miami with the ball. Now, in this case, it's asking us for the X rating, and we'll see that there are 3 players that have a rating of 1 or better: Bosch, James, or Wade. So in this case, we'll just simply say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to see who gets it. So in this case, it's Dwayne Wade. And it's the defense. So we'll roll the 2 dice, but instead of looking on Wade's card, we're going to look at the defender guarding him. So we'll go to Green's card on the defensive column, and on a 9, he's stolen the ball, and it's led to a fast break. So Wade with a turnover, Green with a steal, and so we go over here, and the center is going to end up, so it'll be Duncan, and we'll roll, and we get a 12, and he finishes off the break with a basket. And we'll look down here to see if there was an assist, and it says the shooting guard 23, and he only has an 8, so no assist. Duncan gets the points, and San Antonio is up 4-0. So Miami again, it'll be the power forward, so James has it, an offensive 2, so that'll be inside. We roll the dice, we'll get a 10, and he gets fouled. So Diao picks up his first foul. James goes to the line. And so we'll look at his free throw rating. And so we're going to roll the 2 dice. Anything from 2 to 8, he makes it. And then also if the result is a 12, he makes it. So his first shot actually misses. And then his second shot goes in. And then Miami closes the gap a little bit. It's 4-1 now. And we'll have San Antonio go through one more possession, and it's the power forward. The offense is 8, so it'll be Diao on his outside rating, and we roll an 8, and so he's going to take a 3-point attempt. So you'll see down here it has his 3-point rating. 2 to 6 is the range, so we'll roll the dice, and he misses. So we'll look over here, and it says that the defensive power forward gets the rebound and leads immediately to a fast break. So James pulls it down, and the fast break is going to be led by the center. So we'll roll on Bosch's fast break, and he is going to get fouled by Duncan and go to the line for 2 more free throws. Alright, so we'll say that Bosch makes the 2 free throws, and I just want to show you what happens with the forced shots. So let's say on San Antonio's next possession, if they draw 3 cards, so this one's going to go to the shooting guard with an offensive 6. So let's say we rolled and we get a 4, so that would be a pass. And if that happens on 3 draws in a row, on the last one, if the result is another pass, then that means that the player is going to try to force up a shot because the shot clock is running down. So let's see, it's power forward, offense 4. So it's going to be on Diao. We roll the dice, and we got a 6. So there's the pass. So that means he's going to try to force up a shot before the 24-second clock goes off. So we look up here on the 4-shot rating, and the left side is for the 2-point, and the right side is for the 3-pointer. So you roll the 2 dice. It's a 6, so it's outside the range. He misses the shot, and then you'd figure out the rebound, the same as always. In this case, You're asking if the shooting guard or the point guard on offense is greater than 8, which Green or Parker isn't. So in that case, you're going to give it to the defensive power forward or small forward, whoever has the higher rating. So it'd be James. So DL chucks up a brick as the buzzer goes off, and James pulls down the rebound, and then they would be on offense. Okay, so there's a look at Hoops Tabletop Pro Basketball. As you can see, once you get a game going, it flows very quickly, and the results are very easy to read. Not a lot of rules to remember, and just a very fun and easy game to get into. When I was first learning the game, one of the things that slowed my gameplay down was just me thinking that I was doing something wrong, and I would play through a few minutes and think that I must be missing something. I'd go back to the rule book, and I wasn't. It's really that easy to get into, and once I got over that hump, the game's really sped up, and I've been enjoying it since. I was also a little leery of there not being an actual game clock with the game. I thought I would miss that, but being able to separate the deck of cards down into smaller decks, so they're in 3-minute increments, that made the game flow for me even better, because then I was able to keep track of players' rest easier. And really, those were the only things that I was possibly worried about, and I found that they're not an issue at all. I should mention the game does not come with its own score sheet, so you'll need to provide your own, whether that's creating your own or using one from one of your other basketball games. And the detail that you have in your stat keeping, that will definitely increase or decrease your playing time. And other than that, there is a lot here to recommend. If you've never played a tabletop basketball game before, I think this is a very easy recommendation, and it's something you'll be able to get on your table, very small footprint, very quick setup, and before you know it, you'll be playing out a full professional game of basketball. And even if you've played other basketball games before, I think that there might be enough here for you to give it a try, and maybe it'll sneak its way into your rotation. As for myself, I really have enjoyed this game, and it's certainly something that's going to stay in my gaming rotation. I'm looking forward to some additional seasons coming out, and especially looking forward to there possibly being a fictional set of players released so that you can create your own teams and leagues and run the game that way, which I think this is an excellent game engine to do that. But even if that doesn't interest you, I find that the players who were dominant in real life, they're going to dominate on your tabletop. And the players who were all offense, no defense, you'll see that on these cards. And then vice versa. You'll really love having a strong rebounder on your team. And you'll definitely feel it when the other team is crashing the boards and has a dominant rebounding advantage, just like it would in real life. So there you have it. Hoops Tabletop Pro Basketball, highly recommended. It's available as both a PDF download and as a printed version. Either way, very fun and enjoyable basketball game. Alright everybody, thanks for watching. My name's Steve, and I'll see you next time after further review.